Mr. Jones, the owner of the manor farm, had locked the coops for the night, but he was too drunk to remember whether he had closed the gates through which the hens came and went. He staggered across the garden in the dancing ring light of his lantern, kicked off his boots at the back door, took a last glass of beer from the keg in the scullery, and climbed upstairs to bed, where Mrs. Jones was already snoring. As soon as the bedroom light went out, there was a stirring and excitement in all the farm buildings. It had been rumored throughout the day that the Grand Master, a male pig of the middle white breed, had had a strange dream the night before, and wanted to share it with the other animals. It had been decided that they would assemble in the big barn as soon as Mr. Jones was out of sight. The Grand Master, as she was called, though she was exhibited under the name of the Beauty of Willingdon, was so respected on the farm that everyone was ready to give up an hour's sleep to hear what he had to say. The master was already settled on his bed of straw on the high platform at the end of the great alley, under the lantern that hung from the beam above. He was 12 years old, and had recently grown quite fat, but although his long pointed teeth had never been cut, he still looked magnificent in his wise and benevolent way. Soon the other animals began to arrive and settle down in their own different ways. First came the 3 dogs, Bluebell, Jessie, and Pinebur. Then the pigs came and settled down on the straw just in front of the platform. Chickens perched on the windowsills. Pigeons fluttered their wings to the rafters. Sheep and cows lay down behind the pigs and began to chew their cud. The 2 carthorses, Boxer and Clover, came together, walking slowly and placing their large, hairy hooves with great care, in case there was a small animal hidden in the straw. Clover was a large, motherly mare approaching middle age, who had not quite regained her former form since giving birth to her 4th foal. Boxer was a huge animal, nearly 18 feet tall, and had the strength of 2 ordinary horses combined. The white stripe running down his nose gave him a somewhat stupid appearance, and he was not, in fact, of a superior intelligence, but he was respected by all for his even-tempered character and his great workmanship. After the horses came Muriel, the white goat, and Benjamin, the donkey. Benjamin was the oldest and most ill-tempered animal on the farm. He spoke rarely and only to make a sarcastic remark, such as saying that God had given him a tail to keep the flies away, but he would quickly add that he preferred to have neither a tail nor flies. He was the only one of the animals on the farm who never laughed. When asked why, he would say that it was nothing to laugh at. However, he was fond of Boxer, although he would not admit it openly. The 2 of them usually spent their Sundays together, in the little meadow beyond the orchard, side by side, but never speaking. The 2 horses had scarcely settled down when the ducklings, who had lost their mother, entered the yard in a line and, twittering softly, wandered from side to side to find a place where they would not be stepped on. Clover wrapped her huge forepaws around them, forming a sort of wall. The ducklings nestled on the inside of this wall and lay down and promptly fell asleep. At the last minute, Molly, the silly, beautiful white mare who drew Mr. Jones's wagon, came in, squealing delicately and chewing a piece of candy. She sat down near the front and began to shake her white mane, hoping to draw attention to the red ribbons in her braids. The cat came last, and as was his wont, looked around for the warmest place, and finally nestled between Boxer and Clover, where he purred happily throughout the master's speech, not listening to a word he said. All the animals were there except Moses, the tame raven, who was sleeping on a perch outside the back door. When the master saw that they were all relaxed and attentive, he cleared his throat and began to speak. "Comrades, you are all aware that I had a strange dream last night, but I will come to the dream later. I have something else to say first. I do not think I will be with you for many months, comrades, and I feel it my duty to pass on to you the wisdom I have acquired before I die. I have had a long life. I have had much time to think while lying alone in my pen, and I think I understand the nature of life on earth as well as any animal alive today. That is what I want to talk to you about. Now, comrades, what is the nature of this life we lead? Let's face it, our lives are miserable, tiring, and short. We are born, given just enough to eat to keep us alive, and those of us who are able are forced to work until the last drop of our strength. When we become useless, we are slaughtered with terrible cruelty. In England, no animal of old age knows the meaning of happiness or rest. No animal in England is free. The life of an animal is misery and servitude. That is the plain truth. But is this part of the order of nature? Is it because our country is too poor to provide a decent life for those who live on it? No, comrades, 1,000 times no. England's soil is fertile, its climate is pleasant, it is capable of providing abundant food for many more animals than now live on it. Our farm alone would support 12 horses, 20 cows, 100 sheep, and all of them in comfort we can scarcely imagine. Why then are we still in this miserable condition? Because almost the whole of the produce of our labor is stolen from us by man. Therein lies the solution of all our troubles, comrades. They can all be summed up in one word: man. Man is the only real enemy we have. If you eliminate man, the root cause of hunger and overwork will disappear forever. Man is the only creature that consumes without producing. He does not give milk. He does not lay eggs. He is not strong enough to plow. He cannot run fast enough to catch rabbits. Yet he is the Lord of all animals. He puts them to work, gives them back the minimum food they need to starve, and keeps the rest for himself. It is our labor that plows the soil, our manure that makes it fertile, yet none of us own anything but our bare skin. You cows that I see before me, how many thousand kilos of milk have you given this past year? And what happened to that milk that should have fed the robust calves? Every drop of it has gone down the throats of our enemies. And how many eggs did you hens lay this past year? And how many of them hatched? All the rest went to market to bring money for Jones and his men. The miserable lives we lead are not even allowed to run their course. I complain to myself because I am one of the lucky ones. I am 12 years old and have had over 400 children. Such is the natural life of a D shoulder. But no animal can finally escape that cruel knife. You fattening pigs sitting before me will find yourselves, every one of you, at the auction within a year, screaming for your lives at the top of your lungs. We will all experience this horror. Cows, pigs, chickens, sheep, everyone. And the dogs have no better fate on the island. You, boxer, the day those wonderful muscles of yours lose their strength, Jones will sell you to a horse dealer, who will cut your throat and boil you to feed to his foxhounds. As for the dogs, when they are old and toothless, Jones will tie a brick around their necks and drown them in the nearest lake. So, comrades, is it not obvious that all these evils in our lives are the result of the tyranny of man? Only by getting rid of man can the product of our labor become ours. We can become rich and free almost overnight. So what must we do? Here we must work day and night with all our might to overthrow the human race. This is my message to you, comrades. Revolt! I do not know when that revolt will occur. It may be in a week or in 100 years, but I am as sure as I am that there is straw under my feet, that justice will eventually prevail. Do not deviate from this goal during the short time that remains of your example. Above all, carry my message to those who come after you, so that the future generations may continue this struggle until victory. It is all lies. Man serves no other creature's interests but his own. All men are enemies. All animals are comrades. At that moment there was a tremendous commotion. While the master was speaking, 4 large rats, who had come out of their holes, sat on their hind legs and listened to him. The dogs noticed them immediately, and the rats quickly escaped to their holes and saved their lives. "Comrades," he said, "there is a point to be decided. Are wild creatures such as rats and rabbits our friends or our enemies? Let's put this to a vote. I put this question to the vote. Are rats comrades?" The vote was taken immediately, and it was agreed overwhelmingly that rats are comrades. There were only 4 dissenters, the 3 dogs and the cat later found to have voted on both sides. The master continued, "I have a few more things to say. I repeat, remember always your duty as an adversary to man and his ways. Everything that stands on 2 legs is an enemy. Everything that stands on 4 legs or has wings is a friend.